I'm Dave Floss.
I'm Mike Davis.
And this is the Mentally Unbalanced Podcast.
Theme song.
This is world-renowned scientist and fan of the 80s Stephen Hawking. The following podcast may contain foul language and adult subject matter. I think it is funny as shit, and if you are not in a black hole, should give it a listen. Hello, this is Stephen Hawking. Welcome to the Mentally Unbalanced Podcast featuring the Circle of Idiots.
I always do that. I literally always put my hands up like, and I'm going now. And scene. The problem is that I have the hardest time editing because I'm literally doing this and I start talking with the hands coming down. So doing a cut, I was just like, hi! Right. I'm having a mental block for a second. This would be good. Good closing credit stuff.
Look up.
Look off screen. Look off, and hi, Dave Floss here. All right. Let's try that again. All right. I'm Dave Floss.
I'm Mike Davis. This is the podcast. It's that kind of podcast.
Mm-hmm. Let's try that again. I'm Dave Floss.
I'm Mike Davis.
And this is the Mentally Unbalanced Podcast featuring the Circle of Idiots. It is February 2021, and we have I think a pretty good show set up, lined up for tonight. We got some old favorites, some of our things that we've done in the past. We've got some new stuff to talk about, so I'm really excited. I'm really excited. We've moved again, not homes but rooms. We're now, we're in the basement. Mm-hmm. So after the last video, it was suggested strongly that we move somewhere a little off the first level, off the first floor. So here we are in the basement. I've moved everything down to the basement, which is actually okay with me because it's kind of become my little bat cave, fortress of solitude kind of deal. But anyway, what's the theme? Because we're doing themes now, right? Where we decided we upgraded. Now we have a computer to tell us what we're doing, which is awesome. So Mike, why don't you share with our wonderful audience what we're going to be talking about today?
It's Who's Johnny?
Who's Johnny?
1986.
Who's Johnny?
30 years ago.
35 years ago. This is why he's not an accountant. 35 years ago. So the theme is 1986, which happens to be the same year that Short Circuit, featuring the incorrigible Johnny Five, came out. And a lot of tonight is going to be what we call the Johnny Five lists, the top 5 lists. So we're going to be going through all kinds of stuff from our top 5 favorite sci-fi weapons to the top 5 grossing movies of 1986, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. We don't want to ruin it all. We want to keep you enticed. So let's jump right into it. So did you see Short Circuit in the theaters when it came out in '86?
Pretty sure it did.
I remember, there are certain movies where I remember distinctly seeing them. Mm-hmm. Transformers, I remember. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and then there's a bunch from like you said, I think I did, but Short Circuit is one I distinctly remember seeing.
Yeah. And
the reason is not the movie. The reason is I went and saw the movie. Probably I lived in Vernon Hills, at that time. How old was I? I was 8 years old, and I went and saw it with my friend named Paul Venta. Right, so this was a kid I knew in junior high before I moved. And so we went and saw the movie, and afterward, his mom picked us up, and we went back to his house. We really enjoyed it. It was, when you're 8, anything with a robot is fun.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in the movie, you probably remember this, toward the end, where Steve Guttenberg is trying to figure out, is Johnny Five really self-aware? And he takes some soup, and he pours it on a piece of paper, and he folds it, and then he opens it up. Basically creates a Rorschach.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you've ever poured soup on a piece of paper and folded it, it looks nothing like a Rorschach. It literally, he pulls it up and it's like somebody had laser printed a Rorschach in red.
Just go right through the paper.
It run all over. They run all over. So anyway, he does the Rorschach thing and he goes, what do you see? And he goes, and Johnny Five is like, soup. And he starts listing the chemical ingredients. It's like, see? And he goes, also looks like butterfly. And then he's like, holy shit. And then his eyes zoom in and he goes,
shit? Where's
shit?
shit?
Where's shit? You don't see no
shit.
shit or whatever he says. I don't see no shit.
Make of this?
Wood pulp, plant, vegetable, tomato, water, salt, monosodium glutamate.
Okay. Thank you. Now you're talking like a robot.
And resemble, look like, butterfly, bird, maple leaf.
Where? Holy shit.
No shit. Where see shit?
Yeah.
So the reason that that's important is that of course, 8 years old, it's like the only swear in the movie. What do Paul Venta and I do for the next 3 hours in his mom's house?
Yeah.
Where's shit? I don't see no shit. And not that it was, that big of a deal, but it made, I'm pretty sure it made Paul's mom uncomfortable.
That was the last time you got invited over.
Yeah, it was probably the last thing after that, I think no joke, he moved to Canada. So it was rough.
Yeah.
I apparently had a very, very bad influence on him. But anyway, that's why I don't actually remember watching the movie.
Yeah.
The only reason I can say what theater it was, it was the only theater. This was before multiplexes and 12 screens. It was, the Hawthorne, Theater A or Theater B. It was either Hawthorne or Liberty, but I'm pretty sure it was Hawthorne. Anyway, that's why I remember it, is that the post impact of watching and sharing some of our favorite lines. So we're gonna go with the Johnny Five. I'm sure I'll be throwing in and some video clips and other fun stuff as we go along. But I think we can jump right into it. What do you say?
Sure.
So what's our first? Real subtle there. Boom. What's our first segment? What's our first segment?
We're gonna do 5 alive.
Five
Top 5
alive.
sci-fi weapons.
Say that again.
The top 5 sci-fi weapons.
Top 5 sci-fi
We're gonna
weapons.
draft. He's
All
got
right.
5. I got 5.
So each got 5, and the idea is no repeats. You gotta if one person says one, the other person has to choose something
it's
different.
Taken off it.
And we're going for our top 5 sci-fi weapons. Now we didn't limit this. We're not limiting this just to 1986, because to be perfectly honest, then everybody would pick the shoulder cannon on Johnny Five, which is still one of my considering. When you think about when the movie came out in '86, and they have this it literally looks like a toolbox. In fact, it became a toolbox in the second movie. But he's got this toolbox-sized thing that shoots a high-powered focused laser. I mean, that was
Blows up tanks.
and we're all amazed that Johnny Five becomes self-aware. How about the fact that he's carrying a tactical laser on his shoulder? But anyway, okay, I digress. All right, so we're gonna go with our top 5. So who should go first?
Do you want to flip a coin?
Do we have? I got a coin over here. Hold on. Ooh, I'm off screen. All right, I've
What
got
happened?
the commemorative for your favorite Transformer, I believe. The Shockwave commemorative coin. Probably have to zoom in on that later, but it's got a Shockwave, which is the heads, and then it's got the Decepticon symbol, which is tails. I will spin, and you will pick heads or tails, and whatever it is, if you get yours, you go first. All right.
Heads.
And it's to be fair, feel that thing. It weighs about 14 pounds, so it doesn't really spin. Yeah, flipping it, you might break your finger. Yeah, see, and
That's heads
still
again.
heads. All right, Mike, Mike has won the coin toss. Coin.
I go first. So
right.
first I will pick Deckard's gun from Blade Runner.
Deckard's gun. Harrison Ford. You know what the funny thing is?
It doesn't really do anything special. It just looks cool.
Well, I was gonna say it does. It has no flash. I don't remember there being flash. It literally just makes a noise. That's all. Probably not the noise it makes, but it's literally that.
It's just
literally like a poof.
Future gun.
And it doesn't even sound like a gun. It doesn't sound like a gun, like a regular gun, and it doesn't sound like your standard sci-fi. It literally makes kind of this, and then all of a sudden you see the, it's almost like when I first saw it, I thought maybe it was more like electromagnetic, but then I realized that the
dancer.
The simulants. What are they called? The
replicants.
Thank you. Simulants. The simulacrums.
The computer people.
Yeah, the replicants are actually bioengineered. They're not robots, really. They're bioengineered micro. So, but the idea is it made this noise, and then when you see her fall, it looks like it's more like she got deactivated, shut down, and it's only then you realize, no, she has a gaping hole in her chest. All right, so we have Deckard's gun, which is a good start. It's a good start. I have to go with the phaser, the Star Trek phaser, and more so the original series and the Star Trek. The ones that look more like guns. The original series had like a little pointed tip on it, and then later on they had more like a flat opening with a laser or phaser beam would emit from. But they looked more like, as opposed to later on when they became like remote controls, not quite as cool. And there was something about not just the fact that they look cool, but they had a cool sound effect to them. Each one.
Depending on what setting it is.
Each iteration, it was pretty cool. So I'm gonna go with the Star Trek original series phaser. So that's my number one draft pick. Very versatile too.
Yes.
You can stun, you can kill, you can disintegrate, you can heat up a rock if you're cold. It is, it's actually, if I was ever to have to go on that Naked and Alive or Naked and Afraid show, where they let you pick one item to bring with you, just one, I'd pick a phaser.
Yeah.
Hunt.
How could you?
Chop down tree. Well, anyway, the uses are limitless. That's my one pick.
Okay.
All right, number two pick.
I'm going with Tron's ID disc.
Bum, 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 bum.
Saves the world.
Oh yeah.
Throw that son of a bitch and it comes right back.
Tell me
After
you did
kill
not.
Somebody.
Tell me you did not
Get
throw
de-rezzed.
like every. I lost every frisbee we ever owned after I saw Tron, because unfortunately in the real world they don't just come back.
No.
Learn that one.
You gotta chase them.
Everything was like, but it was all like, wah, wah, and I would play with my friends and it hurt because they were plastic. But oh my,
I
there's
had a
nothing
little brother
cooler.
for that. So.
There was nothing cooler than playing the whole D-Res where it would hit you. Oh shit! See, I just got D-Resed, man. This is television, not radio, baby. Wow. Okay. Most importantly, I'm glad I didn't knock over the table. So yeah, let me. Next time I'll do that in slow mo. Okay. Well, I think my number two plays right into that sensation, because for me, my number two is the glaive.
The glaive
from Krull. Right?
Dirty son of a
I know.
bitch.
I'm so excited. I'll bring it out here. I'll go over there. I got my little 3D printed. One side looks really bad in orange, but the other side is painted. But the glaive, it's obviously not to scale. I was wondering. I always thought the glaive was. I mean, it's just cool. The idea that it's this symbol, but then when the knives come out, and the same thing, just like Tron, it would get thrown and then it would always come back. And I always wondered how they catch it. Like, to me, this would be me. This would be me in Krull, right? I would throw the glaive, and it would kill one of the Slayers, then it would come back, and I'd probably be the one going, "Ah!" Because I'd be so afraid of cutting off a
You'd
finger.
make the same noise the Slayers do.
Yeah. Yeah, totally true. But regardless of whether I could throw it and catch it,
Land right in the Mason's chest.
Yeah.
behind
this it was given me to know that Dave cannot catch the glaive. Anyway, My number
I had
two
a
pick.
friend.
Notice it was past tense. He had a friend.
Well, I don't know what happened to him. We moved. They moved. But he had
He was moving
he was
involved.
older, and he had a boomerang. And he, as you know, all teenagers do, you shave the edges so it's sharper. And he whipped that son of a bitch. And then as it came back, he didn't have the dog boy hand from
Yeah.
Van X.
Yeah.
So he got a nice
Oh,
right
see,
across the palm.
that's what I'm talking about. I'd be,
Yeah. I had the.
I'd be
nerve.
Flossie of the 9 fingers if I ever tried to throw the glaive, because at least one of these is getting chopped off the first. And who just knows how to use it? That's what I don't understand. He literally walks out and he's like, "Yeah!" and throws.
Well,
You've
I
never
mean,
even practiced before. How
he
about you
knew
put
where
some
it
rubber
was.
tips or something, some leather?
Stuck
Wear a
his
glove.
hand in lava.
I guess that's true. I guess
And
that's
he
true.
didn't even.
That's where
get
I,
it.
it's
like,
where
"No,
it's where
dude, it's up there." Okay, so I just picked.
I guess that's
I
right.
picked a random cave after I dodged the rocks,
and climbed a mountain wearing his sword on a scabbard, which you can see getting hooked up. I literally would have. Well, we'll get to that later. My number 2 pick is the glaive. All right, number 3 on Mike's list of who's Johnny's top 5 weapons.
I'm going with a weirding module.
Come on,
Dune.
do it. Sure.
Has become a killing word.
The weirding module to me has to be one of the most ridiculous. You can't don't touch it. You can't. Come on, man. Just leave it alone. There you go. The weirding module has to be one of the weirdest things. So just because
Well, it's kind of cheating because in the book it's it's the weirding way,
right.
but they changed it for the movie.
And the weirding way was more of
It was-
almost like a martial arts
Yeah.
combat style. It wasn't. There was never any reference of I say a word and your body explodes. Right? It wasn't magic or something. It was basically a mystic arts
Yeah.
kind of thing. And in the movie, to create that action of
Well, I read that he changed it because he didn't want to have desert ninjas.
I guess that's fair. That's fair. And I guess we'll find out what direction they go with. Well, and I know I'm segueing a bit, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense insofar as unless you know the source material really well, as a movie, now granted, I won't get into how cheesy the movie was anyway, but the idea of the Sadokar terror troops running out with their guns and their lasers and all of a sudden is the weirding way, I can kind of understand. And it's just a choo. I mean, it's just awesome. It was cool. But yeah, the idea that I'm holding this thing and I just scream at it. Now, granted, as a kid though, when Dune came out, guess who ran around their house? Scream killing everything.
Yep.
Oh I blew away walls, killed my parents at least a dozen times, turning
So
corners.
did
My
everything.
mother's making pancakes. I'm like, joy, choo, and she'd jump, and it was great. That's an awesome pick. Number 3 awesome pick. I'm gonna go with something pretty straightforward. The pulse rifle, the M41A pulse rifle from Aliens. What do you have to say? It is literally a machine gun, but it's loud, it's intense, it looks like a gun, but still has a sci-fi element to it. It's got the over-under pump action grenade launcher, and there are a couple sound effects in the vast library of sound effects that fall into my all-time favorites. Like one of them is the X-Wing from A New Hope, when he's flying the Death Star, and he decides to do a low attack run on the Death Star, and so they don't. I can't do it, of course, but the sound effects of the blasters and then the hits and everything else, it's just like that sound is just like ooh, and the pulse rifle is right up there. That noise it makes when it's discharging is just it's definitely phallic. Come on, it's phallic. Discharge, man. all over that alien nest, man. Are you kidding? Some kind of secreted resin. All right, so that's my number 3. All right, number 4.
4. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make the Sophie's choice. So I needed some kind of sword. So I got a lightsaber or sword of omens. I couldn't choose. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Sometimes I'm leaning towards the sword of omens, but then who doesn't want a badass Darth Maul?
it's a hard. Listen, I think
It's tough.
if I can be so bold, I think we can accept that the lightsaber is the number one on anyone's list.
True.
I mean, it's kind of like in Wheel of Fortune. After a while, they just started giving you RTSTL or whatever it was, right? They gave you.
RTLNE.
So I think the lightsaber is a given. Everyone just gets your home game version just comes with a lightsaber.
Gotcha.
But I like the Sword of Omens. Sword of Omens is sweet. Mine, I think would look awesome from a display perspective. I don't know how I'd ever lift it, but it's right up the same alley with the sword. It is the ceremonial dueling swords from the Dark Crystal. When the Chamberlain
Trial by stone.
and they do the trial by stone, and they have those. I mean, if you remember, not only are they're just massive, totally.
Scabbard.
Yeah. And the idea that it would be balanced in any way, I mean, it literally looks like you'd have to fight just to pick it up, but just to be able to do that one thing. Again, I don't do the Chamberlain justice, but to me, that's like
That's a
that'd
good
be
one.
that'd be the primo collection, because people would look at it and be like, "What the hell is that thing?" Anyway, my number 4 pick: ceremonial dueling swords, trial by stone from the Dark Crystal. All right, and now number 5. The number 5, Johnny Five's sci-fi
My
weapon
number
choice.
5 is the bone from 2001. After the monkey touches the monolith, picks up the bone,
The bone. I guess.
and then they toss it.
Would it really be a sci-fi weapon? I guess it would. I mean, it's I guess science fiction just because it's the dawn of humanity, or
It turns into the ship. When
it
he
does
throws
turn into
it
the
up
ship.
and he
It does. It's
fucking
like
Claire
the
de
first
Lune or something.
Transformer. Wow, the bone. Not the monolith.
No.
The bone. The bone that he picks up after touching him.
Carry that monolith. Are you crazy?
Oh my god, this is hysterical. I feel a little bit like mine, like you're like the bird, from and mine is literally Megatron's arm cannon, the most mundane, right out of the box, But there's always something about everybody loves Optimus Prime, and he deserves a lot of love, and he's got a really cool blaster, but there was just something so cool about that. Not only was it the scope of the gun, but it was just this beautiful large arm cannon, and he would just point it. And obviously in the TV series in '84 and '85, nobody ever died. But when you actually see Transformers the movie, and they not only use Megatron in gun mode
Blows
and
the
blow away
shit
people,
out of it.
but he literally just brings that thing right down on Ironhide's head, and then you just see that from the angle of the barrel shooting the energy out. I'm like, dude, he's serious. I mean, that was serious. So for me, number 5, Megatron's arm cannon. We have a couple honorable mentions. These didn't make the top 5 lists, but are worthy enough to get a quick mention. Why don't you go with the first honorable mention in Johnny Five's sci-fi weapons?
So I am going to go with the runaway gun
Nice.
with
Nice.
the tracer bullets. Classic Tom Selleck gem.
Oh my god. Tom Selleck, and of course the villain played by
Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons of
There you go.
Kiss fame.
Kirstie Alley of Cheers fame then.
Lieutenant Savick from Star Trek. Hey, so here's the deal about Runaway. At the time, it scared the living hell
Yeah,
out of me.
it does.
The little
The
robot, but
spider
bots, and the idea that there were tracer
shoot
bullets,
acid.
and one of the bullets is like gets lodged in one of the cops, and it's an explosive bullet, so they have to carefully take it out. They're using X-rays, so it's from the 80s, meant to be more into the future. If you watch it now, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculously dated. But if you can do a bit of suspension of when it came out, put in the frame of reference of when it came out and watch it, it's not a bad movie.
Oh, that's fun.
It's actually a good movie. And Gene Simmons, ironically, I love him in that movie. He's so over the top. He's
Just
crazy over the top.
taking the makeup off. It's the same character.
Yeah,
It's the
pretty
demon.
much. Pretty much. And then even the robot, they literally have this robot housekeeper who's like
Yeah.
Rosie. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the idea of what they thought robots would be like. That's a good one because that gun, very, very sci-fi, very
Yeah.
future, very a lot like Blade Runner type stuff. All right, so I will go a little bit further forward. I'm going to go with the Zorg ZF-1 Tactical Assault Rifle.
Kitchen sink.
Everything in the kitchen sink. You got the flamethrower. That's my favorite. It's got the launching net. And, ironically, apparently a big thing in the future is not having to aim, because it, too, has tracer bullets.
Yes.
Big deal in the future. Where's the tracer bullet technology? Where's the tube technology?
Yeah.
The flying cars.
Get the
It's
scientists.
2021, and we what did we get? We're doing Mad Max. We had all of these directions we could go, right? From how people thought the future was going to be, and we picked Mad Max. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to go on a big tirade. We're not here to bring people down, but seriously, I look horrible in a leather knapsack bikini. Okay,
Yeah, I'm not quite at chap's weight.
no. Seriously, I mean, if I was in Mad Max, I'd probably be somebody who powders and cleans somebody of more importance. I'm helping put the leather in
Morton
suits.
Joe. You'd be the putting the dust on in the beginning.
Yeah,
of
I
Road.
wouldn't be Morton. I wouldn't be
No,
Morton.
you would be his
I'd literally
helper.
be his duster, and he's like, or like in Dune, I'd be the guy popping
Oh,
the pimples
yeah.
on the Baron, right? I mean, anyway,
Your
I don't have the
diseases.
physique. I wouldn't make it out in the wild deserts. That bell represents it's time to move on to our next segment. It's actually just my phone, but what a great way to turn something into what we want. All right. So we've had our top 5 sci-fi weapons. Now is the point of the show where you've gone through the first segment. Don't know how long it was. If you need to take a break, now's the time to do it. We'll wait. Welcome back. I'm not actually going to edit that out. It's going to be great. Just be some dead air. People go, oh, are they actually waiting? Let us move on now to the second segment in the 1986 Johnny 5 themed episode. And this one is, I'm having some fun with this. This one I think was a lot of fun. 35 years ago, there were over 250 theatrical releases in the United States alone. That's 250 movies came out. Now, granted, 200 of them are probably have been forgotten to the sands of time. But you might be amazed at some of the movies that
Say it
came out
there.
in the same year. And some of these that have become absolute huge cult classic movies that did horribly at the box office. So we have
Most of them do.
we have 2 parts of this segment. The first one is we're gonna just quickly share the top 5 Johnny Five's top grossing films of 1986. The ones that got the top 5 highest box office in that year. Then we're gonna go into all the other stuff because that's what's more fun to talk about. So let's start with our top 5 list. Why don't we go back and forth? Let's start from the bottom up. Let's start with the 5th highest grossing movie of 1986 was. So I've got that free ding. You go this
sorry.
one. There you go.
Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
The
one with the whales.
one with the whales. The one with the whales. I don't think it's the highest grossing Star Trek film of the original. Like, I'm not counting all the
It's one of the evens.
but it's
so
definitely
watchable.
It definitely was one of the higher ones, and pretty amazing that when you hear some of the other 4 movies that Star Trek made it into the top 5, which is probably the only time that it ever did that. Don't quote me on that, but but you think, okay, so we have Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, the one with the time travel and the whales, feel good movie, and then we go to number 4. And number 4, Mike, why don't you go ahead and give us number 4?
Number 4. Won Best Picture that year. Platoon.
Willem Dafoe.
Johnny Depp vehicle.
Oh my God.
Charlie Sheen.
Platoon is it's a fantastic. It's an amazing movie that I watched once or twice. I didn't watch it when it came out. I was definitely too young when it came out. I watched it later when I caught up on all of the, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now.
You did all the noms.
I did all the nom stuff, and it really is. It's a hard movie. It's a hard movie.
Yeah.
So good though, and I will say that Willem Dafoe, who I think is brilliant, but also I think he's kind of weird. And I'm not saying I've never met the guy. I can't say that. Well, if you're having dinner with him. No, I'm saying the
Bill.
roles.
If you're having dinner with Bill.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
really. But it's just some of the roles and stuff that he's done. It's like he just seems like kind of a brilliant but odd individual. And this one, the Platoon, he's so raw. It's well worthy of the top 5. And then we get to number 3, the third highest grossing movie of 1986.
Aliens. And your pulse rifles.
Get away from her, you bitch! We're on an express elevator to hell, going down. I could seriously spend the next hour.
Fancy Reeboks.
I could spend the next hour just
I
quoting.
know we could. On half
Aliens.
of these movies on this list.
That's true. We could spend it. Aliens. It's pretty amazing. So let me just share this nugget with you. Aliens.
Bad decision.
It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call. I think it was a good vehicle for Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
He shifted from his comedic chops.
My two dads.
So here's a little piece of interesting movie trivia. Aliens. Now, granted, I'm not adjusting for inflation. In 1986, Aliens grossed $183 million. That's very impressive for 1986. $183 million. Titanic cost more than that just to film.
Right.
It was about 10 years later, 96 to 98, somewhere.
Yeah.
It's in there somewhere. It's in the 90s, right? Mid to late 90s. And Titanic was, at the time, one of the most expensive films ever made, and would cost more than Aliens grossed total. It's kind of like, wow. It just makes you realize how things have changed. All right, so we have Aliens. This one hurts. This one genuinely hurts because Aliens is my all-time favorite movie. It's in my top 5, and I'm gonna say it's probably number 1.
It's aged better.
But to know that it was beat by the following film, and by $150 million, basically double the gross.
Well, yeah.
The number 2
It's
slot
not rated R.
belongs to.
That's not a movie. You want to see a movie? You see Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. Crocodile Dundee, number 2, highest grossing movie of 1986. $328 million. You got Aliens, you got Platoon. We're going to tell you some of the other movies on this list, and it's going to just blow your mind. Just remember, keep that nugget in the back of your head that Crocodile Dundee beat out all of these other films, with the exception of one. The number 1 highest grossing movie of 1986 was...
Playing with the Boys. Top Gun.
In the Danger Zone.
Talk
I
to
feel
me,
the
Goose.
need for speed. Now, see, that doesn't surprise me. Top Gun was a massive hit.
Right.
A massive hit. You touched on from every age that had the romance aspect to it. It had an amazing cast. I mean, it literally it hit every button, including Val Kilmer and a number of other of these fine-looking pilots with their shirts off playing volleyball. It hit on every mark. So I believe it deserves its $356 million box office gain. But how did it only do about $25 million better than Crocodile Dundee? And I think it is important to note,
World may never know.
it's important to note that not every movie, just because it has fighter planes and kick-ass music, did as well. Because one of the other, in my opinion, better than Top Gun will ever be, featuring one of the most amazing...
That's a bold statement.
But that's what we're here. That's what we're about. It has the most amazing soundtrack. It has the Sir Louis Gossett Jr., not actually knighted, but in my mind he is.
No.
Iron Eagle came out the same year as Top Gun. Didn't even break the top 5. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't think it broke the top 25.
Yeah, that's the
But how do you, I mean...
70th percentile at
Yeah.
least.
All right, so there's your top 5. So real quick recap. We had at number 1, Top Gun. Number 2, Crocodile Dundee. We had Get Away from Her, Aliens.
Barbie.
We have Platoon and Star Trek 4, Double Dumbass on You, The Voyage Home. All right, now the fun part. It's time to get into, we'll just call it the honorable mentions, because there's actually, what have we got, about
It's
10.
called the wall at Blockbuster.
Yeah, it's called The Wall. It's the, like, so I had VHS, right? When they came out, I bought VHS, and then DVD, and then Blu-ray. And throughout the iteration, there's always there's certain movies that it doesn't matter what version I have. And most of my stuff is digital now. I have it on a computer.
But yeah, I've probably bought most of these movies 2 or 3 times.
At least 2 or 3 times. All right, so we're gonna go no particular order, and I guess we'll give them as much time as we feel they are worthy of. But let's just talk about
White Album again.
here's some of the stuff. That's a good one. Here's some of the stuff that also came out in 1986. I'm gonna start at the top with a movie that is unbelievably so bad that in my mind it makes the circle all the way back to being good. It is The Golden Child. Eddie Murphy.
I want the knife.
Absolutely love this movie. I don't know why I love this movie. The acting is horrible. The premise is stupid. The action is cheesy. It's bad on almost every count, but it has a woman snake monster. So, you know.
And a dancing Coke can.
And I forgot about the dancing
Or
Coke can.
I'm not sure it was Coke that.
Coke,
It might have
Pepsi,
been Pepsi.
RC Cola. I don't remember the can itself,
Yeah,
but whatever it was.
I think it was a can.
This
was probably RC.
Yeah, this little was he Buddhist, I think, or
Yeah, he's like the next Dalai Lama.
and
or
he's
something.
eating leaves to try to stay alive, and all of a sudden he makes a dancing can. I can't explain it. You'll have to see the movie. But that came out in 1986. What else came out in 1986, Mike?
Ooh, Cobra.
Cobra. Not to be
Cobra.
confused with Cobra Commander or Cobra.
Yep.
Cobra. No, that was Sly Stallone.
and Bridget Nielsen.
That's it. Was Brigitte Nielsen.
Another awesome soundtrack.
That that
With that, I still listen to.
there are. The funny thing
I
is
have half of it in like almost every playlist I make.
Yeah. I will tell you, if I think about this list, any playlist I make has at least 1 or 2 songs from one of these movies. It was the 80s too, so it was all about it. It was less soundtracks, right? Like scores, and just became how much rock and roll and killer music can we put in this stuff. So we said Short Circuit. Short Circuit's on the list. Here's a movie that still actually scares the hell out of me. Not necessarily because it's graphic, but just the premise of it. And I think it's the way it was done was just truly a perfect type of scary thriller type movie. The Fly.
It's Cronenberg. He likes
Fly.
his goo.
Jeff Goldblum and the makeup effects. That movie to this day, I
Janet
love
Davis giving birth to that giant
giving birth to a
maggot.
giant maggot. I mean, you can't write these things anymore, right? Everything today is recycled. This is when Gina Davis gave birth to a maggot.
I mean, technically, that was a remake too. So
But to be fair, the original was like really cheesy. I mean, like he just comes out with his head.
was
The idea
50s.
that in this one he's literally transmortifying into a fly, into Brundle fly, throwing up on donuts. Oh my god, it's so disgusting. But it's like an accident. You can't look away. You gotta keep watching. That's a classic. Then let's segue right into the opposite end of the extreme. A movie that I actually enjoyed and enjoy now, but it's probably in today's geopolitical climate would be considered probably pretty offensive. Would be Gung Ho. Gung Ho. Yeah. I mean, basically, definitely playing off of a lot of stereotypes in this particular Michael Keaton movie. And amazingly,
I think it's hilarious.
I can't
Still
help it.
pretty funny.
It's not as bad as some others. In fact, I can't think of the actor's name. He's the actor who played Long Duck Dong in 16 Candles. He's also in Gung Ho. He's basically the main character in Gung Ho.
That's not the same guy.
Yeah, oh, it is. It is. Oh, so what you're not going to see now is that after this is done, we're going to do it, and then we're going to come back. So now we're going to pretend like we've already done that and come
It's
back.
the Shelley
I
Rock
was
disaster.
right. I was right. No, so I'm going to go. I'm going to say we have. If I have to throw a disclaimer that I was wrong, I will. But right now, I'm going to say it's the same guy, and that it's the least
you're
offensive
probably
movie.
right.
It's the least culturally offensive movie that he probably starred in all that he was in all of the 80s.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
he is. I mean, at minimum, assuming I'm correct, and he also played Long Duck Dong. I mean, that's this end of the extreme of whoa.
Yeah,
That's Song of the South territory there. We don't watch that anymore
No.
in front of anyone. To at least there was some aspects, at least of the time, relevance around Japanese automakers and coming to America. At least that piece. But do they still manage to definitely hit on some tropes? Yeah, they sure do. All right, what do we got? What else is on our honorable mentions list?
Oh, we got Three Amigos.
Three Amigos.
We got.
Yep.
Yep.
Can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday. Still remember how to do the Amigo sign, the Amigo action. But and yes, again, one of the most absolutely quotable movies ever. I mean, look up here. Hey you!
Yeah.
Hey you guys! Look! And that's not even one of the funny ones. That's just this movie is
It's just
a sweater. Oh, I mean, it's just again, if you think about it, a little playing on the, little bit.
Gringos aren't falling out of the sky.
Okay, I have to say, of all the movies on the list, if you have never seen The Three Amigos, for some reason it's before your time, or you just didn't see it, please, as a personal favor to me, go watch The Three Amigos. It is kind of, to me, it's like the Blues Brothers. It took these great performers from Saturday Night Live or SCTV. And it's one of the few movies where they turned it into a movie, or they used the cast and built a movie, in that spirit of Saturday Night Live, and they were gems. Blues Brothers and Three Amigos, to me, are like the gems of what they came out with. And Wayne's World. Can't overlook Wayne's World.
Yeah.
All right.
Or you go with Spies Like Us. Came out that
Also
year
good.
as well.
Spies Like Us, absolutely.
Doctor.
All right.
Look it up on YouTube.
We got a few more here, so let's chew through these. Let's see. Okay, so we have like at the bottom of the barrel a movie that no matter how much I want to like it, I couldn't like it then. I don't like it now. Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck is.
I love Howard the Duck.
I hate Howard the Duck. I find it unwatchable.
You got a big old duck boobies.
Yeah, well,
How do you
there's
go
just-
wrong? You can't.
I guess you can't. For you, I guess that's.
You got
if
Oscar
you're-
winner Tim Robbins.
If you're into that sort of thing, I don't get me wrong, it should work. It just and even the animatronics, the puppeteering, whatever that they used is not bad for the time, but it just doesn't get. Howard the Duck is an exceptionally crass character, and they made him crass, but not crass enough.
Yeah.
So it was like, you either play it
wanted
safe and make it a
PG.
kids movie,
Yeah.
or you push the envelope and you make it like Deadpool. Anyway, I think they missed the mark. All right, what else do we got? Highlander.
No.
Highlander.
There could be only one, or two, or five Highlander
And a series.
movies.
Then where we retcon the original. You know what the sad part is? The series wasn't bad. We're not going to talk about the series. I won't. Here it is. I promise I won't talk about the series. But if you look at the movies, the first Highlander is a good movie. It was unique. It was like kind of like an Arthur legend, history, or a historical premise, then a modern day premise. It had sword fights. It kind of like hit on a lot of different buttons. The overacting.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, overacting for Mr. Krabs was just brilliant.
Hello, sisters.
Yeah. Man, that might not be so safe anymore, but I loved it. I still to this day
Yeah,
love it. Like
I
I go
could
back and I
watch it.
watch it and I still love it. I love the friendship aspect between Sean Connery, who at that point was really doing a string of just the absolute worst movies of all time. He was. That's actually kind of when he finally started. We thought he was moving out. He's moving out, and then he came back
wins
for
his
Highlander
Oscar.
2. You know, so I still love it though. But every movie since then, absolute
Well,
garbage.
yeah, because they changed.
Absolute garbage.
whole
But
dynamic.
even that, it's just they're bad. They're just
Oh yeah, and then they're bad too.
all right. Let's wrap it up with the last couple. We got to go with this one because this is the one where I mentioned earlier that it might blow your mind to find out that this movie did abysmal. It did worse than Howard the Duck. It did worse than the Delta Force. It did worse than. Well, the only movie on my list that it did not do worse than was GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords. So just bear that in mind. This movie just barely eked out past GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords. Would you be amazed to know, Mike, that movie is Big Trouble in Little China?
In Little China. I love how
Next surprise. It's been on the list, but I appreciate the oomph of what? That's right, folks. Big Trouble in Little China, one of the worst earners in our list, and still to this day, one of my all-time favorites. It's probably still in my top 5. It's right up there with Aliens. Definitely one of the best John Carpenter movies. Right there. I mean, between John Carpenter and Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China, you got that, Escape from New York, and The Thing. These are that's your trifecta. If you're playing the trifecta of John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, that's it. That's just it.
You ruined it, L.A.
Yeah, L.A. never happened. But hard to believe Big Trouble in Little China didn't do as nearly as well as most of these other movies. Of course, only time will tell because most people have not heard of The Golden Child. Probably unless they're our age, they have no idea about Gung Ho or Delta Force or Howard the Duck, and yet I bet many of them know about Big Trouble in Little China. You just go to these Comic Cons and Anime Cons, and it's still pretty big.
Yeah.
It's still pretty big. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. 1986, a year that gave us some of the absolute best and worst movies that we could possibly imagine. 35 years old. Now, before we move on to the next segments and a much-needed potty break, we are going to take a moment to talk about another fad that seemed to pick up in the early and mid-'80s. Now, probably a couple years before these mentions, really started the breakdancing movement. And unfortunately, by '86, breakdancing was already kind of moving its way down. We'd had Breakin', 2, the Electric Boogaloo. I always forget the other one. There was another Breakin' movie.
Oh, Beat Street.
Beat Street, thank you.
Breaking in it.
Breakin', and so we had a bunch of these breakdancing. We got to dance to save our lives, and we had flash dance, a number of these. But then it started to shift really from dancing your way to victory to extreme sports, and not like your Rudy, right? You had that. You had your great sports, classic sports movies, definitely in the '70s. And '80s, but this is going into I'm going to let
every sport needs its own movie.
Right.
So that's how you get American Anthem, the gymnastics movie.
That's right.
That's how you get.
For every Remember the Titans, we need to have an American anthem, gymnasticking our way to freedom.
Qualifying for the Olympics.
It's intense. It's right up there with this came out later, but that's like the cutting edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Google the movie.
That's the figure
Cutting
skating
Edge.
movie.
That's a figure skating movie, long before the one with John Heater and Will Ferrell. Yeah, long before. This was a serious romantic comedy figure skate. Okay, well, good, enough said. But what other extreme?
Well, then you move into the extremes, and you got Rad, which is the BMX movie.
BMX was the shit.
Yeah.
BMX was the shit in the '80s. If you had a BMX, you were getting you were the shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had a banana seat.
I didn't have a bike.
No.
Let's move on to the next entry, please.
Thrashing.
Thrashing.
the better of the Gleaming Cube skateboard movies.
Skateboard. Yeah, real big on skateboards. Skateboarding was getting real, extremely popular. Competitive skateboarding, definitely getting very popular. Okay, I gotta ask about this. I don't know this movie. This is one of the movies on your list that I do not know. I have never seen. What is Wind Rider?
Wind Rider is
Look
about
at the way he says it. The Wind Rider, you ass.
starring Academy Award winner Nicole Kidman.
Get out! I mean, granted, it was like 30 years before Academy Award.
It was their follow-up to BMX Bandits. But this is, the extreme sport of windsurfing. Of course,
They would make a
movie.
movie literally about anything, any sporty type thing. All right, so then I think we have to have our honorable mention. This movie in itself, while not an extreme sport movie, has by far probably one of the most extreme sport moments. Would you like to share the most extreme sport moment in 1986 movie
Triple
history?
Linden.
The Triple Linden. And now for those 4 people
Back
that have
school.
seen the movie, why don't you tell everyone else what the Triple
It's
Linden
the-
is?
Diving. It's collegiate diving in Back to School.
Rodney Dangerfield, 1986, back to school movie, also featuring one of the best back and forth exchanges between him and the late Sam Kinison. And if you look up, again, if you don't know who Rodney
The Oscar
Dangerfield is,
nominee Robert Downey Jr.
all you need to do is look up Rodney Dangerfield and then ask yourself, this guy does a triple dive. And what he does is he goes to the high dive, jumps and flips onto the next board, jumps and flips onto the third board, and then jumps and flips and does a dive. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably used a stunt.
Oh,
double.
it's clearly a stunt
Yeah.
double.
It's a guy who, first of
I
all,
mean,
right there, shaved 150
It also has
pounds.
Johnny from Karate Kid is the villain.
Oh
Again.
yeah, he's in the film. Oh my, well that I
He's
probably
the
have not seen
captain of
that.
the diving team.
That makes sense. I haven't seen that movie probably since the 80s, so I might have to go back. Although I'm
Missing
gonna
out.
guess that's probably, especially knowing Rodney Dangerfield, there's probably some stuff
There's
not safe for watching in
It
front of
has Sam
kids.
Kinison.
Well, here's the thing, right? And this probably is its own segment. So again, right now, if you need to take a few minutes, go ahead and we'll be right back. I mean, we're not going anywhere, but you go ahead and we'll wait because it's not like we got anything better to do than wait. Yeah, get a coffee. If you're watching, it's in the evening. Get a drink, glass of wine, maybe some cheese. All right. So what I was going to say was back to school. There's a number of movies that we grew up with, right? Let's focus on the 80s for a minute. Movies we grew up with. And we say to ourselves, God, I remember this movie. It was so funny. It was so good. And then you go and you watch it again, and you might still think it's funny, right? Because at minimum, you're getting the nostalgia effect of it was funny when you were a kid.
Very true.
But now I have young adult children. I have 2 daughters, right?
Yeah.
One about to graduate high school, the other one 2 years from graduating high school. My point is that they're old enough to either get the joke or
They're
get why the
woke.
joke's not. They're woke.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And they have no tolerance for the context of when it came out.
Right. So, granted, you can watch a movie. Let's think. You watch a movie that came out in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. Every
No,
decade.
they love musicals, which is odd. 'cause
Which is odd, But even some of the
They love the
greatest
old
films
ones.
of all time, frankly, Scarlet. I don't
Gone
give
with
a
the
damn.
Wind.
Thank you. I can remember the line. I can't remember the movie. If you actually watch the movie, there's deep-rooted racism.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if you put it in the context of when it
on
was
the
filmed
plantation
and
waiting
what
for Sherman to come burn it down.
what period the movie is supposed to represent, you can say to yourself, it's in context. Now, I'm not going to get into a whole tirade. I'm not going to make excuses for some movies that, out of context, are just bad, or don't do a very good job of being anywhere near even trying to be politically correct, let alone even decent. There's some rough stuff out there. But you watch a movie like Back to School, you watch a movie like 16 Candles, and yes, clearly they're even for me, some of them are kind of like, ooh, I can't believe we said stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and again, even movies where it's subtle. I mean, I was watching the first with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, the first Lethal Weapon movie, and at one point, Mel Gibson's on. There's an explosion, there's some fire, and Danny Glover starts patting him on the back, and he's like, "What are you, an F or something?" See, and that's what I'm saying. Even now, I'm not going to say it.
I think the first 2 Bill and Ted's they say it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, what my children refer to, and again, these are young adult children. The gay F word. They once told me they use the gay F word. I'm like, is there a different version of fuck? Again, please bear in mind, it really was just I didn't get it. It didn't click in my head. They're of a different generation. They are far more woke and aware of these things. So the challenge has become. It used to be when they were younger. You would choose movies based on, okay, does it have graphic violence? Is it too psychological? Is there nudity? Right? These might be common things you think to yourself. Is this appropriate for watching with my kids? Now it's almost, and this never happened when I grew up, it's flipping to where now it's like my kids are questioning whether it's appropriate that I should still be watching a particular movie. It's hard. These struggles are real.
Not wrong.
It's kind of like they're not wrong. I get it.
We're not wrong.
And we're not wrong. How does the dilemma is it's an enigma. It's an enigma wrapped in a conundrum, tied with a I don't know. An I don't know bow. All right. So now we're legitimately
wrapped in the Sunday edition New York Times crossword.
Yeah. In other words, I'm lost,
Nobody
and
saw
I just felt I needed to share that with somebody because we tried watching the other day. One that I thought was fairly benign was The Breakfast Club, and even that has some questionable scenes in it. In fact, I think the one that we really missed, which is one of those movies that I love, 2 movies that I love that I really that you can't watch, and one came out in '86 and one came out I think just before. One Crazy Summer. And
that still holds up, I think.
I'm not saying it doesn't hold up. There's definitely scenes and moments in it. It's like that's more of gender exploitation.
Yeah.
And then you have the other John Cusack.
Oh, Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead.
Yeah.
And that one.
That one probably ages a little bit rougher.
Yeah, that one's a little bit rougher. I mean, when the safest thing is talking about the street value cocaine of snow on a mountain is the safe part. Yeah, it might be a little bit rough, but still, one of my favorites. So now's the official time where we've given you a couple breaks. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so we're at one of my favorite parts of the show, the segment I like to call trivia. We're going off script a little bit. We got some really great feedback around trivia last time. If you watched the other video cast, we had, I think it was Harry Potter and Star Trek. Mike got Star Trek, I got Harry Potter, and I lost pretty miserably in the Harry Potter trivia. I got some grief from some folks about some of those questions that I missed. Apparently a lot of Harry Potter fans out there. So we're gonna do trivia. This is gonna be a little bit different. So what I have here is this great game called Timeline, and this is the music and cinema edition. I've removed we had some cards from last time. I removed those cards, and what we're gonna do here is here's how we're gonna play the game. Right? The rules are very simple. We're going to each pick randomly 5 cards. And if you don't know the game, on one side they have the name of a movie or music. In this case, this is The Great Escape. And on the other side, they have the year that it was released. Now, when you normally play the game, read the rules if you want to know how you normally play the game. Here's how we're going to play the game. We are each going to just grab 5 cards. I'm going to do it right here. I'm just going to take some cards here, and I'm going to grab 5 at random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do the same. Keep the year down. We don't want to see the year. Okay? And this is going to be a little bit more, hopefully, even and fair instead of it being, Star Trek trivia or Harry Potter trivia, and I'm gonna leave them stacked up so we can't see them. So we got 5 cards each of some random music and cinema. So here's what we're gonna do. Here's how we're gonna play the game. I will go back and forth. I will start with one of mine, and you will have to guess the year it was released. Now, if you guess the exact year, you get 2 points. If you guess plus or minus 1 year, year before, year after, you still get 1 point. You keep track for me, Mr. Stenopad. If you get anything else, then you get 0 points. And obviously, the winner is the person who gets the most points. What's going to happen for the winner or the loser? I don't know. We'll just find out. It's really more the fun of if minimum, absolute strong bragging rights. So without further ado, getting right into it, we are going to start with Mike's first selection. It is Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis. What year did Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis come out?
I'm gonna go 58.
1958. The correct answer is 1957. Wow! Mike gets 1 point for Great Balls of Fire. Nice. I would have been way off. Way off. All right. Mine.
You're going, oh, this isn't fair.
He says that, now you know I'm going to totally botch it. Totally botch it. Okay.
Alien.
Alien? Ooh, you know, see, you'll probably get me on this. Alien was... Alien was I'm going to go 1979.
Yes, it is.
That's it? Oh!
1979.
Nice. I knew it was late 70s, but I thought it was 78 or 79. All right, so 2 points for me. All right, here we go, Mike. The Big Lebowski. Joel Cohen. The Big Lebowski.
Lebowski. Oh, Fargo was
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. 7th of September. 7th.
Oh, I'm gonna go 97.
97? The correct answer is 1998.
God damn it!
Ooh. So close. Mike gets 1 point. All right.
What year did the movie The Bridge on the River Kwai come out?
1966.
1957.
And that's because I had never seen it. No idea. 0 points for me. And just like that. All right, Mike, here's one. Born to be Alive by Patrick Hernandez. Born to be alive. Born to be alive. Time was on my side.
70s, so let's go.
Born to be alive.
77.
1979.
Oh.
79. All right.
What early disco.
All right. Okay.
Alright. What year did Like a Virgin come out?
Like a Virgin. I'm going to go with 1982.
84.
Oh! I literally was like 82 or 84 because I was thinking it was like right at the launch of MTV, but... Oh! Okay. Well, so what? We're still tied. We might have to have a sudden death tiebreaker. Way of the Dragon. Bruce Lee's
Way of the
Dragon. Bruce Lee, Way of the Dragon.
I will go 68.
1972. All right, we're still tied. All right, Mike, I'm ready.
What year did the movie The Terminator come out?
1984.
1984.
Yeah! All right. Well, Mike, it really comes
You
down
have
to this
two
this
gimmies.
card. If you don't get,
Bullshit. This is bullshit.
it was all random, man. All random. Here we go. Candle in the Wind by Elton John. What year did Candle in the Wind? Goodbye, Norma Jean. It came out in this year,
1974.
1973. Oh! All right.
Fuck you.
Well, we'll go with the last card. We have, it's 4-3. Let me see if I can really lock in the win here.
The final countdown.
The final countdown. Ooh, 1987.
86.
Ooh! Fucker. Brings us to, what is the final tally, Tally Master?
Dave 5, me 3.
Ah! And I totally redeemed myself. Anyway, if you enjoyed playing our version of the game or you want to play it by the real rules, that was Timeline. That was fun for me. I enjoyed it. So we'll figure out if there's any real repercussions to trivia this week. But at minimum, I am going to glow in my
Alien and
I
Terminator.
know. I totally. That was a
Fucking
given. Yeah,
bullshit.
that was rough. That was rough. Well, then let us move on to something more uplifting. A new segment, brand new segment called "The Part Where I Die." The part where I die.
Part where you die.
So here's just a very brief background. Is that, you know, I'm a huge movie lover. My wife loves movies. We watch a lot of movies. My wife and I like to watch the movies together, as I'm sure you and your wife do too. And for whatever reason, lately we'll be watching a movie, and a scene will come up, and we go, nope, that's where I'd die. That's where I'd be out. So it's either die or tap out. This is where in that scene, in that movie, you're like, nope, the movie's over. And it's not you it's as if you were in the character's shoes, right? So what we've done is we picked, part of our Johnny 5 list is 5 movies from 1986. And the part where we'd say, nope, that is officially where that movie would have ended for me, because there's no way in hell I would have done what the character had to do. And this is using our own personal experience. For example, I have a fear of just about everything. I have a fear of heights, I have a fear of drowning, I have a lot of fears. So plays perfectly well into the game called At What Point Do I Die? So we have the same 5 movies, so we each get to talk about the part in that movie where we would have tapped out. And we will start with, let's start with the first movie, Highlander. Highlander. All right. So at what point, if you were, I assume that you're playing McLeod, right? You're the main. The idea is you're the main character. Yeah. So we'll go on that premise.
Parameters of the game.
Yeah. As the main character, McLeod, at what point in the movie Highlander would you be like, nope, I'm out?
So it's gonna be pretty soon. It's early in the movie. It would either be having to pick up that 2-handed sword he uses in the first.
The broadsword,
Yes.
literally the
Yeah.
Claymore type broadsword.
I couldn't pick that up.
Well, you couldn't.
It's
you
real
couldn't fight
steel.
with it.
No.
that's a real sword.
Fucking
Yeah.
throw my shoulder out, swinging that thing. That or
So you're tapping out basically in the very beginning because
before you
that's
even
just
dies
that's
the
just too
first
damn
time.
heavy.
Yeah.
That's just too heavy. I'm not lugging this piece of shit around up there.
No.
All right, and then you said it was that, or if for the sake of argument you actually picked up the sword long enough to get stabbed, find out you're actually immortal, then at what point are you still tapping out?
Having to eat haggis.
Oh yeah,
Or
no.
being served haggis, or being in a room with haggis.
Being anywhere near haggis, knowing
Smelling
somebody who
it.
once made haggis.
Watching someone eat it.
Have you ever actually smelled
No.
haggis? So you're just
No.
going on the assumption
No.
that look at you. No,
No.
no, no.
Why? Why would you? Why would anybody?
All right. So either having to pick something up or eat something you can't stand.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, near boiling it right
I
down.
might not have made it old enough to be the character in the movie.
So I would have.
Having being served
Yeah.
haggis.
So I have kind of an if or,
Yeah.
right? Similar to your first one, the battle scene in the Highlands. So I think I would have picked up the
Oh,
sword
yeah.
and at least ridden out on the horse and
Keep your
McLeod, and then, but it wouldn't have been like the whole battle scene leading up to when McLeod gets stabbed by the Kurgan. It would have just been as soon as people started fighting.
Me.
You know, as soon as somebody was like, "No one will fight me," I would have run. I was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Then I'm out. No one wants to fight me. Fine. So for me, it's either that, any fight scene, swinging swords, blood flying. No, I'm done. And then ultimately, for the sake of argument, and again, I just been stabbed right away and found out I was immortal, and then I go back and I live with Heather when they find this little castle, this mini castle in the Highlands, the stairs. Because you go into this thing and you realize that the main level is just like a table where they cook and eat, and then there's like this weird rock stone carved stairs that kind of spiral around,
Loft.
assumingly to go up to somewhere. I don't know what's up there. I would never know what's up there. There's no railing on those stairs.
Oh, God,
they are
no.
an absolute
They're not
hazard.
level.
And my fear of heights, I'd get up about 4 steps. I'd be like, nope, sleeping on the table. Sorry, babe, sleeping on the table tonight. Can't do it. So that is where I would tap
Fine
out
again.
in Highlander. All right, let's go on to our number 2 movie. So I'm gonna jump around here a little bit. A fairly forgettable movie. At the time, it was big because of the whole space race and Challenger and shuttle missions. But this was a movie called Space Camp, and this was a real thing. Space Camp was a real thing. You could go down. I think it was in Florida or Texas. It was in the south.
I don't know.
It was down there
one of
somewhere.
them. They probably have one at both.
And you could go down and you would go to where, NASA would have this
Do
thing
all
where you
the
could literally
training
go and do
and
space
stuff.
camp and do like training and simulations and stuff. And then the premise of this movie is all that happens and then they accidentally get launched into space in a shuttle.
Oh,
And
yeah,
these
'cause
kids,
the robots.
these kids have to figure out how to survive. All right, so you get the general gist of it. So where do I tap out? I tap out in the opening credits. That's right. I don't even make it into the movie. The movie opens where all these kids. Well, first of all,
opening credits.
it's literally just credits. There's nothing. It's literally them arriving. But what I'm realizing is 2 things. One, my parents never would have let me go.
Well,
Never.
That's way too much money.
There's no way.
Plus, there's meeting new people and
Yeah.
talking to girls. What, are you
So
crazy?
I legitimately believe
No
that
one's gonna do that.
I would have tapped out before the movie
Yeah,
really had a
you wouldn't
chance to
even
get
bet
going.
Tatum will
Not to
go.
mention, even if for some weird reason I
Right.
won some kind of drawing or contest that got me free ride to get there in the first place, the minute they're like, we want to put you in the simulator, I'd be like, what, a tiny enclosed space? No, I don't think so.
Put this
Yeah.
suit on.
I went to computer camp. I went to a room that was big and had a computer, and I didn't have to interact with anybody but a Texas Instruments computer in front of me and play Alpine, which was this weird climbing game. That's the camp I went to. Mike!
I never went to camp.
See, I tapped out because I never went there. All right,
No.
Mike, at what point would you be checking out of Space Camp?
Math.
So what is
Doing
that?
math. I wouldn't even probably qualify to go to space camp.
You wouldn't make the questionnaire. As soon as math was involved, as soon as you have to figure out a trajectory or how much fuel. Yeah, okay, that's yup. All right, so as soon as the math kicks in, space camp is officially over for you. Oh boy. Yep. Maybe you heard it, maybe you don't. Cat's having a little fun playing around in the other part of the studio and just knock something over, but that's TV, baby. We keep on going. All right, next movie on the list, Ridley Scott Tour de Force, Legend, the movie Legend. So now you're Tom Cruise in the movie Legend. Mike, at what point have you decided, nope, Tom Cruise is nuts, I couldn't possibly do what he did?
First off, it's a Tom Cruise movie, so there's going to be running.
Yeah. Beside
that
lots of running.
Is they open up and they're frolicking in the fields, and my allergies can't take that. You can see the pollen every time they take a step. Crazy?
This was before Claritin or any of that stuff. It literally was you could take a Benadryl and pass out for 6 hours. Yeah, that's one of those things where high definition watching the movie gives me the sniffles.
It would be that.
Okay.
Or if I was able to survive that, when he cliff dives into the lake to get she throws her ring.
Yeah.
No.
Cliffs. I would say
cliff diving.
I might make the dive. I might. If I was able to just build up I'm going to run, close my eyes, and jump, I might make the dive. But as soon as he's swimming,
it be a dive?
No, it'd be a belly flop. At best, it'd be a cannonball.
Yeah.
But once that happened, the idea that and this is pretty much in any movie, as soon as there's underwater swimming, I don't know if you do this. I have a tendency to do this. I hold my breath. Like I like to think to myself, he's underwater. I'm gonna hold my breath and see. Can I hold my breath? And granted, I know I'm not exerting any force or anything else. I'm just holding my breath, and and then I'm like, and I realize he's still down there for like 7 other minutes. That's where I would have had to tap out.
And plus, who opens your eyes in fresh water?
In any water.
With no goggles?
No.
You
so you'd also tap
unless
out because
it's a pool, maybe.
Oh, I can't. The chlorine literally burns my eye sockets, but
that too.
I have to admit, now that you're reminding me of that scene in the movie, that's probably where I would check out. It was like, even if I made the jump, there's no way I'm diving down for that ring. Yeah.
Nope.
I don't even in anyway. All right.
Lily and I
for the sake of argument, if I did make it past that, the entire swamp segment with the grody green I don't even know what it's funny because it's Robert Picardo plays the green thing that tries to lure him in to the swamp, and she's literally is green and gross, and
I don't remember this part.
Hopefully I got the right movie. I'm pretty sure I almost called it the Swamps of Sadness, but it's literally the bog. They have to go through the bog. So anyway, the bog scene, as soon as literally it's like, nope, I'm out. I'm out. Anything with a bog.
What?
I mean, if we were doing
if
we were doing Swamps of Sadness, that's probably where I've been like, nope. As soon as I gotta walk in the Swamps of Sadness,
I would just
I would totally
and drop like a stone.
There would be no slow drop. It'd be like, I'd be down.
Lightning sand.
All right, so we have Legend. All right, let's keep chewing through all these wonderful points where we die. Let's go with Big Trouble in Little China. Where in Big Trouble in Little China? I'm gonna go first because you might notice that there is a theme to almost all of my amounts. Right? They infiltrate the warehouse. They get in the elevator, and then the elevator starts filling with water.
No.
Now the problem is since I didn't know it was going to fill with water, I can't say that I would have checked out before then, right? Just following movie timing logic. But in the elevator, as it starts to fill with water, I'd probably be the guy who just waits for it to get over my head and just goes and breathes it in and just lets it make it end.
You would.
I don't want to. I would
kill the other person.
Yeah, I would.
Because you were standing on them.
Yeah, none of this waking up in and hanging or in the wheelchair stuff. I never would have made it to the wheelchair. I probably would have, because I would have freaked out so bad. I would have hyperventilated, passed out, and drowned in the elevator. Movie's over. They never get the green-eyed girl back. It's very sad. Very sad. How about you? Where do you have to check out when it comes to Big Trouble in Little China?
Mine would be going backwards in the wheelchairs because I can't stop that. I'm just going right down the elevator.
I'm gonna fall on my chair again, but right when he's leaning on the edge, he's trying to hold it. Oh,
No.
That's
That, or it would be before he even gets to Little China, because I can't drive stick. I can't drive it.
So the opening credits.
The opening credits would be, this is Jack Burton.
Just remember what old Jack Burton said.
The pork chop express is going nowhere. Because I just blew the camera.
2 hours of Big Trouble in Little China is you on the side of the road waiting for AAA to come fix your truck.
Yep. I can go in reverse.
That's great. That is absolutely great.
I can't do that.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical, dude. I didn't think about that. I keep analyzing where I would die or be like, I'm too afraid, but I didn't realize, I'd probably be done pretty early on in that film too. That or sitting in the fish market, the food market, when he's dropping off all the stuff and then he stays up all night playing whatever they're playing, mahjong or something like that, dominoes. Just being in there, it'd be like, dude, I feel the need to wash for days. But anyway, all right. And the last movie in our top 5, where would I check out movies, is a little gem most people don't know called Flight of the Navigator. Flight of the Navigator. I think it was a Disney movie.
Yeah.
On
Check
top
out
of
your
it.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. See if you got Flight of the Navigator. Fun little movie. So here's the deal. I would survive the whole movie. I would. I would make it all the way to the end, but it doesn't mean I'd finish the movie. And here's why. Because about halfway through the movie, the premise is that this kid goes running into the forest and disappears and comes back, I think it's like 10 years later, but he hasn't aged. And you find out that he was picked up by a spaceship and he was moving faster than the speed of light, whatever the mechanics are in the movie that say
he
didn't
couldn't
age.
return him to the exact time where he was
Picked up.
Yeah.
So this
Whatever.
intelligent ship, voiced by Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, brings him back, and it's 10 years later. And of course, everyone's like, "Oh, he hasn't aged," and he gets picked up by the government. And to try to make him feel more comfortable, because he's just a pretty young kid, they give him like a room that he's in, and on the wall in this one scene are all of these G.I. Joe and Transformers toys in the box, brand new. That's where I check out. Because at that point I'd be like, stick the needle in me, put the weird squid on my head, run my brain test.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. Keep the toys coming. Because at that point
Give
I'm
me that
also
USS flag.
at that point everything. I want everything, and then I'm also 10 years ahead of the curve, right? I mean, the collector's market alone would be huge. So to me, I'd survive. I just wouldn't finish the movie. The spaceship can do whatever it needs to do. I'm not going. So that's me.
I don't remember anything yet.
You don't remember? It's
No. I remember the little mogwai thing.
Oh, the little
whatever.
Yeah, the
That's
little
all
creature.
I remember about it.
Well, so
the
you get an
Beach
audible.
Boys.
You get to you would have made it.
I
You
guess.
would have made it.
I guess so.
So there you go. Top 5 movies or 5 movies and the moments where we would or would not have checked out. Anyway, this can actually be a really, really fun game that you can play anytime you want. Just think about it. Next time you watch a movie, at what point would you have been like, nope, that's when I'm out.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. I enjoy that. We'll have to, the interesting thing is as
When
times
the kid
change,
shows up.
I again probably wouldn't have made it 20 minutes into. I would have been Marv at best. Is it Marv who gets shot in the head? Marvin? Shot Marvin in the head?
Yep.
I think that's it. All right. So anyway, another one. Maybe next time we can pick a different decade. We can go 90s or the aughts and see. But for now, let us move on to the next segment. All right. This is a fun one. I think this is a fun segment. So we had Transformers the movie. We had Top Gun. We had a number of movies come out, so I thought it would be fun. They're not all necessarily exactly 1986 themed, but they kind of fall within that period. And I thought we had a segment in the last podcast called "What Would My Job Be?" And if you remember, we did like the Death Star.
Yeah.
And I had said, "Oh, you'd be the guy pulling the lever, wearing the mushroom cap. You know, just that's your one job." And I think I said I was like head of custodial services or something. So in the same vein, we're not going to do jobs. We're going to do if you were you in the universe I'm going to tell you, right? What would your role or code name? You'll get it in a minute. Let's start with the first one. If I was an Avenger, what Avenger would I be? Right? Now remember, it's not I'm Thor or I'm Iron Man. It's Dave Floss shows up for Avenger tryouts. What's Dave's Avenger name? All right. You want to go first on this one?
No,
You want me to go first? All right. So my Avenger name is the Limper.
The Limper.
Not limp.
The Limper.
The Limper. Because what I've noticed is that there's a lot of running, jumping, rolling, falling, and what I realized is very quickly I would just always be limping everywhere I go.
You're in the backup squad?
Yeah, the backup squad. Okay, I'm realistically I'm better off probably being the guy in the chair, right? But if I was really trying out to be an Avenger, I'd have, again, they're gonna check. It's not like they're not gonna do a background check, right? So why hide it? I'm the guy who limps. I'm the guy who just limps everywhere I go. And it's like, no, you guys, on your left. Go ahead. You're on the left. Go ahead. Just keep going. I'll catch up. That'd be me. I'd be
We
the
have one
Limper.
of those fast guys.
No. I would not be I would not be a speedster. I'd not be a guy with awesome superpowers. I'd be picking things up behind people. Like, hey, cat, you need this? You dropped this. You want it? No, you're good. All right, that's cool. Hey, I found a penny. I think it's good. I found this. Yeah, I'd be the guy just checking out the field, right? All right, so I'm the Limper.
The Limper.
The Avengers universe. Mike Davis as.
I would be the guy playing Galaga. That would be me. I would be on the way in the back of the bridge, but I would be fucking off on the fucking computer.
Play to your strengths, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know what my real job is, but I know that I'm playing Galaga while everyone else is. Everyone's doing something important, and you're trying to get that high score. All right. So that'd be like a job. I want to know who is you're at the Avenger tryouts. You're standing in front of the table. You got Captain America there saying hello, and you are.
I am Pudge. No, I'm just a doughy guy. Occasionally I could get the thing done, but I'd be like
We'd totally
the
be
bad.
on missions together.
Yeah.
They'd be like, we need somebody to run out and get Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
Let's send the Limper and Pudge to go.
You'll get the order right.
All right.
Yep. Hey, make that shawarma reservation for me,
Oh my
Pudge.
god. Oh.
You got it.
Oh my
Iron
god,
Man.
that's hysterical, dude. I think we got something here. I think they keep doing this whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything else. What about, there's the A team, the B team. I want to know about like the Y team, right? I think, Pudge and the Limper. It literally rolls off the tongue.
It's got a ring to it.
Oh man. All right, so we've just figured out who
Disney
are.
Plus.
Yeah, come on.
They're available.
You're putting in all the sequels.
We're
I mean,
already potted.
if you've got The Little Mermaid 2, Secret of the Fin, you could totally pull off. If you get the right writing, you get like a Jon Favreau to do Pudge and the Limper. It could be.
Busy doing this.
I'm not saying him. I'm
Saving
saying
Star Wars.
someone like him.
Okay.
Someone like him. I'm not saying we get Favreau. We wouldn't get Steven Spielberg. We get like Steven Spielbergo to help us, right? I think we got something here, but in the interest of the podcast, we'll keep rolling along. All right, now we get into G.I. Joe. What is your G.I. Joe code name? You got Snake Eyes, you got Scarlet, you got Duke, you got Gung Ho, and Mike. When you're called out and say, "Yo, Joe," you are
the equipment manager, or the.
Wait. You keep doing jobs. This is what kills me. Is that like instead of it being your code name, you're being like, "My role in G.I. Joe is equipment manager."
Equipment manager.
You need. There's never a time where there's not towels.
NPC that delivers the Jeep, and then they run up. Oh, okay, you're driving then. Okay.
You're the guy. Well, every time they're in the show, they're running out. There's always a vehicle there.
Yep.
Who puts the vehicle there?
Who makes sure it's gassed up?
Who runs regular maintenance checks? Makes sure that the tires have enough air in them. This guy, equipment manager. All right, now again, I'm going to challenge you here.
Jetpack keeper.
I need your G.I. Joe character code name. I need to know what your code name is.
I'm gonna go Cobra. It's here.
All right. So, I guess I didn't.
So you have.
Specify. Okay.
You know, you have the hierarchy of Cobra. You have your Cobra Commander, your Destro.
Sure.
You have the twins, Tomax and Zaymot.
Yeah, sure.
So, I would be the third brother, Motax. Motax, the third. Zaymot, I forget the name they gave their company.
Wasn't it like Consolidated something? It was literally like business.
Yes. LLC. That would be. I would run the business. I'd do the day-to-day.
So Zaymot and Tomax are doing the whole.
We take over the world, and I'm the office manager.
Yeah, you're the guy.
Everybody's doing what they need to do.
Yeah, while you guys are out
Keep
trying
the
to
money
take
rolling.
over Kyrgyzstan. Somebody had to make sure payroll got out last week. I'm just saying. The consolidated company doesn't run itself.
Motax's job.
Motax. So
Motax.
Zaymot, Tomax, and Motax. Oh man, that's great. That's great. Oh, Motax. All right. I stuck with G.I. Joe. I didn't segue into the Cobra side, and I went with, I am G.I. Joe codename designated driver.
That's your code.
That's my code name.
But that's the job.
DD. Yeah, but it's my code name and my job. I'm designated driver, or Double D. That would be my code name. Double D. What do? I drive people places. I'm the guy who drives people everywhere they need to go. After a mission, everyone's hurt or injured or. Yeah, it's really just, driving Miss Scarlet, whatever you got to do, driving Miss Lady J.
Wish.
I know.
It's driving.
Again, I just want to
driving Bazooka after he's had too much of Roblox chili.
That's probably what I get stuck with. That's probably absolutely true, but a guy can dream. The truth is, I'm just not built for combat. I can't fly. Can't really drive at high speeds. I'm the guy who says, no, slow down. It's either that or I'm just called Backstreet because I'm the guy who's the backstreet driver who's like, hey, we gotta take these turns so fast? Equipment manager Motax is gonna get in all kinds of shit if we don't bring these things back. All right.
Scratch.
All right. Here we go. The last code name type thingy.
Okay.
Top Gun.
Ooh,
This is your call
signs.
Call signs. So,
All right, you go first.
all right, I'll go first. So my remember you had Maverick, you had Iceman, you had Ghost, you had Merlin, you had Goose.
Viper.
My
Merlin.
call sign would be Wretch. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're not
And it's
gonna,
exactly why you think it is what it
You're not
is.
gonna get a partner.
No.
Code
I'm gonna
Wretch.
no. My
You're
code name is
everybody
Wretch.
else's punishment.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you did another
Came in
flyby.
last.
You got to go up with Wretch next time. And it would totally be.
You're stuck with Wretch for a week.
There'd be the guy in the front, right, the pilot, and then there's kind of the navigator and weapons, whatever Goose does. I'm not the guy in the front of the plane. I'm Goose, but I'm Wretch. And as soon as he does one of those, I'd be like, oh my god!
They would have been able to see the Meg to flick them off.
Oh my god, no. It literally would have been fucking milk and cereal and all kinds of sticky stuff just all over the cockpit. It would have been horrible. That's my call sign, Wretch, doing a flyby. All right. All right, Mike. Top Gun call sign. What's your call sign?
Mine. It would be 1 to 2. It'd be.
Okay.
So it'd be Wheezy. Because I'd be hyperventilating the whole time. Because.
You gotta leave your mask on, Mike. You gotta leave your mask on.
Yeah, I can't have all that stuff on me, my face.
You got anything like
And I'm in
a
that little
lighter?
thing, and it's just. Yeah. That.
It's good this wasn't in the part where I check out, because it literally had been the very opening scene when they fly. I'd be like, no, I'll be the guy on the
Well, it
ground.
would have been math.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
never
it.
getting in the Air Force. Are you crazy?
Dang that math!
Fucking math.
Foiled me again.
Hit the game.
All right, so Wheezy,
Wheezy,
and you said you have a second one
or would
in
be.
case Wheezy scrubs out.
Well, no. It
Then
could be
there's
already
always-
taken.
It could be. That's true. It could be.
You gotta put in and be Wheezy 6689 underscore.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Facebook or Twitter. I'm sure they don't want to get confused, especially when it's like, this is the tower call for Wheezy 66789. It's not
Which
like
Wheezy is
TK421.
this?
Yeah. They can never
or
send up
it'd
two
be-
Wheezys.
It'd be
Holy!
and you know, you guys don't get it, but he does.
Oh my god, that is perfect. You
It's
know,
probably more fitting too.
it is definitely more fitting. More fitting. We'll have to share maybe in a future broadcast why
That's a story for another day.
the story of Holy.
Holy!
But that is much better than Wheezy, and honestly, that would be my call sign would be shit, fuck, shit.
Yeah.
Anytime something happens, shit, oh Jesus, that would be mine. I would have a lot.
That'd be even before. That would be. There's no railing on this on this aircraft carrier.
I mean, literally, if they had to put my call sign on my helmet, it would be like in 12-point font just to fit it all the way around. Oh my god, that's hysterical, dude. All right, another fun segment that we had last time, and kind of how we like to kind of close out the show, is the soundtrack of our lives. So we pick something that if we were making the ultimate playlist that represents the soundtrack of our lives, what would be on that playlist. So we've done it again in this episode. We're going to stick with
1986 edition.
1986. It's got to be something from 1986. Like last time, I'm going to lean over here. Like last time, I go vinyl.
Yeah.
It just kind of makes it interesting, and ironically, for 1986, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
I mean, it's a pretty stacked year.
So, I mean, you've
You
got
got Cobra. You got.
you got Transformers the movie. I mean, no surprise, I'm sure, for anyone who knows me even a little bit, that I would have Transformers the movie. But that's not my choice. First of all, because I actually think I picked it last time. I think it was my go-to, and too easy. But so honorable mention. Got to give. I mean, Transformers anytime. I can give Transformers an honorable mention. Another one that we mentioned earlier that I think deserves a little bit of screen time is Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, which is one of the
Jared
best.
Goldsmith.
No, this is Leonard Rosenman, which is why I like to say that while it is one of my all-time favorite Star Trek movies, it is my least favorite Star Trek soundtrack. I mean, I still have it because I'm a Star Trek fan, but it is
Completist.
from a revised theme to the songs. It's very 80s synth cheesy, but not in a good way, not in a Star Trek.
Too much
way.
whale song on there.
Too much whales going on there. So, but my actual choice my actual choice then, after my honorable mentions, is a movie we didn't mention, but did come out in 1986 and includes two of my favorite actors. That's no joke. They really are two of my favorite actors, and one of them is one of my all-time favorite actors, and that is Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal in the immortal classic Running Scared.
Jimmy Smith's vehicle.
Running Scared. And, you know,
there's only one.
There's only one song, honestly, that is probably recognizable to anyone else. I know most of the songs, but the one that is ultimately the one that gets you every time is Sweet Freedom.
Come on.
By Mr. Amos. So my soundtrack is going to include, my playlist now includes Sweet Freedom from the Running Scared soundtrack 1986. 1986. That is my selection. All right.
I mean, that's...
Mike, hopefully, you know, right now there's a little Sweet Freedom playing. All right, now
booby shirts.
let's they're literally wearing like the 80s muscle shirt, crop top.
No, they're wearing an actual shirt with boobies on them.
Right, I forgot. I forgot.
They pick out the bar they're gonna retire in.
That's right. I forgot about that. I forgot. It's been a while. Know the song, the movie. Been a while. All right, Mike. That is the soundtrack playlist for me.
So I'm gonna go with the classic legend theme. Is your love strong enough?
Really?
Yep.
This is your ultimate.
Is your love strong enough? Good old Brian Ferry, Roxy Music.
You know, I like to think that.
I mean, that's on a lot of playlists I make.
Really?
I mean, even Sweet Freedom is probably a good 75%.
Really? I mean, no. I guess Sweet Freedom. Is your love strong enough? Really?
It's awesome.
Wow. I always thought of my playlist as being I'm stuck on a desert island, and for whatever reason, I get to add one song to my. I can only. You know, get my coconuts to generate enough energy to power my phone long enough to download one song, right? Well, let's take a moment. Let's hear a segment of. I guess we'll have to leave it to the audience to decide. You know, is that it's a good choice though, and just pulling something from Legend. Is pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's a tough call between that and Loved by the Sun.
That's true. And there were a few. There were some notable. Like my gut was to look at Aliens, but it's a good soundtrack for the movie, for an action movie. But it's, you know, outside of Aliens, it's not you know, anything spectacular. So I thought about it. I'm gonna want to. Is it something I'm gonna say Transformers? Because it's a mixture of rock songs and score, of which I actually enjoy too. I know I can listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, okay, Aliens? No, I'm not going to listen to the opening credits of Aliens. It's not much, right? The Sweet Freedom, yeah. You know that's going to happen.
Swings, baby.
Yeah.
You can fuck to Sweet Freedom.
Yeah. It's true. It's absolutely true. I can kind of fuck to any Michael McDonald. I don't know why. It's something about the voice. It literally is it's the note. He's got the note. Right there. Well, symbolically speaking now, we close the lid on another podcast episode from Mentally Unbalanced. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope everybody enjoyed the segments. It's time for a couple shameless plugs because, you know, we gotta try to generate enough momentum to keep these going. So the first one is, if you're watching this, you should be on YouTube, which is awesome. Go ahead and hit like or subscribe.
Smash that subscribe
button,
bro.
beat it. Which not only are we going to obviously have
Right.
our podcast, we do other videos, video reviews, all kinds of other content that hopefully you find enjoyable. Also, our Mentally Unbalanced Facebook page. I'm going to put the address at the bottom, but it's facebook.com/mentally unbalanced COI, Circle of Idiots. And,
5
and I'm going to throw a couple others, so I won't bore you with all the other stuff. We've got a website. We've got another, we just started up, or I started up another site as well for selling and buying and trading all kinds of classic vintage toys and other stuff. So if you're interested, go ahead and go to Facebook, click like on this stuff, and you can keep up with everything that we're doing. But until then, I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of the Mentally Unbalanced Podcast. I am so pleased to have joined you. I'm Dave Floss.
I'm Mike Davis.
And we'll see you
Monthish?
something like that.
Maybe.
We'll see. See how it's going.
3 quarterly?
It's 2021, so I mean there is a better chance that we might actually be able to do a few more of these this year. So anyway, see you.